On Donut SMP, most people make money from huge farms, flipping items or base raiding. But I found a method that makes 300 million per hour and almost nobody's using it. So I tested every stage of the game, from beginner to mid-game to the most broken method I've ever seen. And by the end of this video, you'll see how the setup can print hundreds of millions. But before we get to the broken one, let's start with something simple. The first method is simple, and most people completely underestimate it. You buy sand, you buy gravel, you craft concrete powder, and then you turn it into solid concrete. That's it. But here's the twist. Most players on Donut SMP are too lazy to actually process the concrete. They just want finished blocks instantly. So if you're the one doing that one extra step, you control the profit. Now the price depends heavily on the color. The absolute cheapest colors can go for around 60k per stack, but that's pretty rare. Most of the time you're selling between 70 and 90k, usually around 80k per stack. But here's where this gets actually interesting. Every time a new farm meta drops or someone releases a schematic and that build uses a specific concrete color, that color spikes instantly. If the new meta is blue concrete, you mass produce blue concrete. If it uses black, you switch to black. And when that happens, you can sell for 90k, sometimes even 100k per stack. That's when this becomes stupidly good. Because everyone else is reacting late, you're already stocked. It's not the most broken method in this video, but for a beginner, it's consistent, it builds starting capital, and that's all you need to move to something bigger. Once you have some starting money, we scale. Piglin bartering. Instead of flipping items, you're literally printing loot. You buy gold blocks, convert them, trade with piglins. Now yes, most of the loot is trash, but two items carry this entire method. Leather and Blackstone. Leather sells for insane prices. Blackstone moves consistently. Everything else, bonus. Soul sand, gravel, spectral arrows, they add up. But leather and Blackstone are what make this profitable. I invested 1 million into gold blocks, traded all of it, sorted the loot into chests, and added up the values. That run more than quadrupled my money. But to be fair, this method is RNG. I definitely got lucky on that run. Even on my worst runs though, I still doubled the money. And here's the crazy part. This is infinitely scalable. More gold, add more piglins, faster trades. What took me 20 minutes could theoretically happen in seconds. With a big enough setup, of course. There is no hard cap. The only limit is how much gold you're willing to invest. This already makes serious money, but it still isn't the most broken method, because the next one doesn't rely on RNG at all. If this is helping you at all, subscribe. I'm pushing for 10k subscribers this year. We're at 3k right now, and I'd really appreciate it. Now this one is actually the method I ended up using the most. Villagers. This is what got me to 1 billion. At first it doesn't even look that crazy, but once you set it up properly, it just takes over. You start with 2 zombie villagers and cure them. After that, I'd honestly recommend building a villager breeder right away, because you're going to need a lot of them anyway. And getting villagers isn't even the hardest part. The annoying part is getting the right trades. You're basically sitting there, breaking lecterns until you get books that start at 24 emeralds or less. Because that's the key. Once you zombify and cure a villager one time, the price drops to 1 emerald. But only if the base price is low enough. If it's too high, you won't get that 1 emerald trade. So you actually need a bit of patience here. Once you finally have good trades, you build a long trading hall. Nothing complicated. Just one long wall of villagers. And then you keep 1 zombie at the back, you zombify each villager once, cure them, and lock in the 1 emerald trades. And that's where this starts to get really strong. Take mending as an example. You buy it for 1 emerald, and you can sell it for around 25k. And mending is stable. It actually sells consistently. So every trade is basically profit. Now imagine you don't just have 1 villager, but 20. Or 30, all with good trades. At that point, you're not really thinking anymore. You just walk down the line and trade through them. And this is where the money really comes from. Not from one big flip, but from doing a lot of small trades very quickly. If your setup is big enough, you don't even notice the trade resets that much. You're always moving, and realistically, that's how you end up in the 2050 to 300 million per hour range. Not in some perfect scenario, just with a solid setup and enough villagers. Of course, it depends a bit on the market. Some books sell better than others. Mending is the most consistent one. Other books can go for 70k or even 80k sometimes, but those prices fluctuate more. So it's actually worth checking what sells fast, and building your trades around that. Once everything is set up, it honestly just becomes a speed thing. Quick reminder, subscribe, and all of you watching, have a great day.